GHK Lall on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of the National Outlook. I hope the week is going well for you so far. We haven't spoken for something that is very, very important in this country, very immediate, and so we'll revisit it today. The COVID-19 pandemic. And the world over, the United States, the UK is under national lockdown. The world over, there's this second wave or second surge. And the numbers are frightening. In fact, the numbers are more than last year when this thing first started. And yet, I get the impression that urgency, that deep-seated anxiety, it's not as prevalent. It's not as intense as before. And I get the same impression here in Guyana, because day after day, there was a little lull. Early, I think about 2-3 weeks ago, there was this little lull where we had very, very low numbers. I think one day, the numbers were below in the single digits. Then it was somewhere, I think, below 20 in another day. And then suddenly it would appear as though the bottom has opened somewhat. I won't say it's fallen out, because we are getting 30 plus cases and 40 plus cases and 60 plus cases. And we are having a death here and 2 deaths there. And it's worrying. It's worrying because I think of the holiday season, and I'm sure those who are resident here and those who look at the television would have seen our clusters and congestions at the marketplaces, in the stores, in our whatever we had in our homes and our places of business, meaning social engagements. There was some masking, there were some distancing, but by and large, the discipline that we may have exhibited before, it was just not there. And so here we have Dr. Zulfikar Box, who's been all over this, and I must commend the man for his diligence. He's been keeping us alert and keeping us informed. Coronavirus, the more we facilitate its spread, the more mutations we have. We know we're talking about mutations now, and that is even more frightening. And what we heard is that 3 mutant COVID-19 strains are there right in Guyana's backyard. Traveled from South Africa to the UK, where these things were first identified, and then now in Brazil. Now it's all the way to the other side of Brazil in Sao Paulo. And I've been there. It's a long ways from Bonfim and Boa Vista. I think, if I remember well, it's about 6 to 8 hours of flying. So, but this thing travels. If it could travel from South Africa to Europe, meaning the UK, and now we're talking about Brazil, we've got some problems here, and we need to be serious. We need to be disciplined. We need to go back to that tautness that we had showed before. We had demonstrated that, look, we want to do this thing right. We want to protect ourselves and secure our families and our friends. So we got to do this right. So we have a vaccine. It's not going to get here until the second quarter of this year, optimistically. So you're looking really at April, May, June. It could be anywhere there. And so if we're talking about May, June, we're talking about 5 to 6 months from now, give or take. So in the meantime, and even with a vaccine, the experts are saying, even with a vaccine present and administered, we still have to maintain that vigilance with social distancing, masking, and washing hands. So we've got to do that. And what I notice is that 31 businesses were warned, first warning for breaching COVID-19 measures. Now, I think that's good. But then I hear about a first warning and a final warning, and then somebody's been written to about closure. I think one warning is good enough, given the sensitivity of this thing, given the probability, the risk of it spreading if we are lax. So one warning should suffice. I call upon the task force to think about that and then close people down if they keep violating or they keep ignoring. So look, we've got the strains next door, we've got businesses in breach, we've got these fears, and we've got our numbers going up. So here's the story. Let's be sensible, let's be severe if we have to be, and let's do what we have to do. If we've got to shut down some people, do so. If we've got to discipline some people, let's do so. But we need to watch out for one another, and we need to do the right thing here. Until the next time, GHK Lall on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Thank you for joining us on the National Outlook.